Hey, it's Soul, and I'm here to take you through what's up with the Void Assaults and Ritual Sites. It's new outdoor and instance content coming in patch 1205, adding new rewards to gain greater power and, more importantly, appearances to show off. It's pretty straightforward in practice, but there are a few pieces to it that might make it feel like a system to understand, and while this is all PTR information, I also want to share a hands-on perspective so you know what to expect when you dive in. In exchange, you can help support the channel by liking this video, subscribing for more WoW coverage, and catching me where I'm live. Let's start with the new hub. It's located in northern Silvermoon City, above the profession buildings on the east side. A brief questline will introduce you to the numerous vendors offering power and cosmetics and direct you to where the content is. We'll get to the actual rewards part later in the guide, but at a high level, you'll be visiting this place a lot. Void Assaults are pretty easy to break down. These take place in either Eversong Woods or Zul'Aman, and they rotate each week. Unlike other assaults we've seen in the past, these are always up and can continue to be worked on for a currency called Field Accolades. These are used to buy goodies from most of the vendors. On your map are two kinds of fill up the bar sorts of quests. Void Strikes are public events with different kinds of objectives asking you to maybe knock things out of the sky or beat up bad guys. You're basically filling up a bar. By finishing, you get a little bag of goodies, including field accolades and crests, and contribute to the larger Void Incursion, that's the other quest objective. Some of these Void Strikes have multi-stage objectives, and in this footage, my lonesome self takes a while to complete these even as a pretty geared tank. These are meant to be public events though, so especially early on, we can count on loads of people swarming in and laying waste to these areas to the point where maybe we can just stand around while a mob of gamers roll over everything. My testing was limited, but there's a reasonable chance as a lot of people pile in, multiple Void Strikes will actually be happening at once, but you'll only be able to see one at a time yourself. So in a way, this might help split the zone into multiple sets of groups hopping around and knocking out objectives. I wasn't able to see the bigger Void Incursion myself, but my guess is it's the kind of big encounter that'll bring everyone in the area together and probably lag the heck out of the zone. This appears to award a bigger bag with similar kinds of rewards. And there's also a weekly quest you can pick up at the questing hub, but you can also head straight into one of these Void Strikes and you'll automatically get the quest that way too. You're asked to complete 5 Void Strikes in the weekly for a goodie bag. On the tooltip, it's considered a pinnacle cache to award veteran track gear, although I did happen to not get gear in my testing. Now this could be a bug, but I also happened to transfer a character who had picked up boxes earlier in the week on live servers, and that credit might have happened to transfer over. Stepping back, as a feature, I say this is targeted mostly for newer players and alts who are undergeared, to help them get into the action, and this is in addition to low-level delves and dungeons and raid finder and so on. Combine this with the likes of Prey, and you can expect a pretty wild time of filling out bars and probably finding off someone else's prey target. Heavily geared characters will probably dive into this to at least check it out before realizing the rewards aren't quite to their level. However, there are achievements to fulfill that let you purchase a mount and a pet, so you can count on sticking around for at least a little while. Which brings us to Ritual Sites. These are small areas of the outdoor world but are carved and turned into small instances, not unlike a dungeon or maybe a delve. Inside are a few basic objectives to complete, followed by taking down a big bad to get a score called Spoils. At the end of a run is a big chest where you get goodies, including field accolades based on how many spoils you've collected, and I'll talk more on that in a bit. There's no timer to Ritual Sites, and you're allowed 2 deaths before the game penalizes you and lowers the amount of spoils you earn in a run up to 50%. There are selectable difficulties, and the long and short of it is to go as far as you think you can handle and slowly build yourself up. While doing these, you also earn renown because, yes, a renown track is available. Progressing through it opens up a few power-ups to make Ritual Sites a bit easier, it helps more spoils drop, and it also unlocks more reward purchases. You can hard farm your way to max renown from the very start if you like. You earn renown equal to the amount of spoils you found per run. Otherwise, each week, you get some bonus renown from the first few sites you run. When you approach a site, a delve-like menu appears, but with a few twists. At first, you'll only be able to take on lower difficulties, and you need to complete them to unlock the next highest up to tier 5. These unlocks are shared across the warband. Playthroughs will reveal quests to unlock challenges or affixes you can activate from that delve-like menu. From testing, these unlocks are not shared across the warband, which might be a PTR bug, but it's not as annoying as it seems. By activating these, and higher difficulties require a few to be flipped on, it definitely makes the ritual site harder. What's neat is you can customize the difficulty to suit your playstyle, or you can activate them all anyway. Runs will get really crazy in this case, but also more lucrative, in the form of giving you a lot more spoils. Again, spoils translate into both reputation and the number of field accolades you get. My testing was limited, but eventually as you max out the renown track and unlock features, you'll have an opportunity to stack affixes to raise your spoils multiplier, allowing you to earn well over like 100 accolades per run. Ritual sites are definitely more of an endgame capstone compared to the assaults. They might feel difficult for some at first, but there's an almost continuous reward loop if you want to basically live in this space and farm up hero gear and crests if you want. In a way, it can serve as a standalone feature you can sort of live in for gearing up. And even if you're done with gearing, from the feel of it, it's also the faster way to collect the many cosmetics available compared to Void Strikes. By completing Tier 5 ritual sites, this also counts as an elevated piece of hero track gear in the Great Vault. Now let's return to the hub and take a look at what there is to buy and how to buy it. First is a modest round of decor. Most of it's accessible at a renown rank of 3, and the Dark Obelisk there unlocks at rank 7. As you can see, this will cost you Voidlight Marl. A mount and a pet can be purchased here after completing a few Void Strike achievements. The other mounts and pets are unlocked via renown and are all bought with Marl. The Quartermaster is the place to be for gearing up. Champion gear is bought with 75 field accolades, hero gear is bought with 500, which sounds like a lot. And you can also buy a field accolade pouch using this dark particle stuff. It's a random drop-off mobs in this content and lets you buy 10 field accolades, but that's barely worth mentioning as a way to pick up a spattering of currency. As I mentioned, once you're able to, you can slam high-level ritual sites to farm up hero gear at a rate of roughly 4 runs per piece. What you get is random though, so have fun with that. And some of you are already geared though, and are just looking for maybe the Tier 2 cosmetic recolors. Fortunately, there's a vendor for that too. Here, you can buy a loot box that awards transmog appearances from every individual slot. What's cool is it's designed to only give you appearances you don't already have. You can see this on the tooltip. For those collectors who are going for 100% completion, hey, this is great, no duplicates. But for those who might only be looking for a set to complete 1 or 2 classes, you'll be crossing your fingers a lot in hopes of obtaining the pieces you want. As you can see, these loot boxes cost 5 to 10 accolades and 150 to 200 Voidlight Marl. I typically don't like doing the thing where we add everything up and I present this big number to you like it's really overwhelming, but this Marl cost equates to a little bit over 20,000 in order to collect every appearance. Now, whether that's punishing or not is really up to you. It is a safe guess that this is not going to be a limited time event, and in my opinion, 20,000 Marl, it's not that big of a deal for anyone who's already interested in collecting cosmetics. I do have a tip though. If and when it's time for you to buy stuff, you should do this. Buy only one type of loot box at a time. Learn the transmog, and then repeat the process. So for example, I'm going to buy one weapon and shoulder and chest and glove token and so on and so forth. Then I'll close the vendor and I'll activate each of these appearances and then repeat the process. I'm doing this because from testing, it appears the game will perform the role of what appearance you get the moment you make the purchase, not when you open the box. So if you overbuy, you run the risk of buying a bunch of duplicates because you haven't actually unlocked appearances yet. The game is only seeing you buy these appearance tokens. Eventually, the vendor will tell you straight away that you can't buy any more of a certain box because you've already collected everything. Now, maybe I'm over-explaining, but like I said, just make the purchase, learn the appearance, and then purchase again to make sure you don't accidentally waste currencies on duplicates. As for my impressions here, this feels like a pretty fun side feature. I think it does well at respecting the needs of players who want to get in on this for the gear, or the cosmetics, or both. It's kind of a bummer that the Ritual Site challenge unlocks aren't shared across the warband, but they're super easy to earn, and also be undergeared anyway, so they'll be building themselves up and they can learn those challenges in the meantime. Otherwise, anyone who's farming up cosmetics, they'll just want to hard farm on a single character anyway. And that's the guide. I hope it helped. If I did miss anything though, let me know in a comment and I'll try to answer in a sticky. Please like this video, subscribe for more WoW coverage, catch me live, and I'll catch you later. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.